Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining me on the special edition live stream to talk about our latest software update, fall software update that actually came out this week. So thanks for joining us. If you do have any questions, if you're joining us on Zoom, look at the top of the bottom of your screen. Wherever your Zoom controls are, you should see a little box that says Q&A. Click on that, type in your question, hit submit, and I'll get to those at the end of the session. If you're watching live along on YouTube, just use the live chat function wherever it happens to be on the device that you're using. And I'll get to those questions at the end as well. So my name is Jason Gabrinas. I'm one of Snap-on's National Diagnostic Technical Trainers. Been in the training department the last 9 years or so, traveling around North America, helping techs and shop owners get the most out of their diagnostic equipment. Before I did that, I was a couple years as a diagnostic sales rep with Snap-on. Got about 30 different Snap-on franchisees I worked with, as well as the shops that they serviced in order to help everyone get the most out of their diagnostic. Then before that, it was 8 years at Subaru. So over time, working in a Subaru dealership, just became the default diag guy in the shop. So I always ended up with the drivability problems, the intermittent problems, the weird wiring problems that would always show up on those cars. And that's really where I learned a lot of my diagnostic skills and techniques I still use to this day. And then before that, a bunch of other miscellaneous wrenching jobs. Been a little over 25 years under hood experience for me. So what are we here to talk about tonight? As I said, software. And keeping your software current on your Snap-on tool is necessary, and it certainly helps you keep the ultimate competitive edge in the bay. So it does just keep growing. Every 6 months, we do a major update. We do a few little updates in between, but we do a new major update every 6 months. And over the last 2 years, look at the amount of that the coverage has grown. And this is not just on brand new cars. We go back quite a few years as well, filling in gaps that might have been there before. So especially look, European, 35% more functional tests, 32% on systems. So that's just this certain system, this suspension system or this engine system or whatever it happened to be, 32% more than there were this time 2 years ago. Same thing with domestic. You see 52% growth in functional tests, a lot of new tests, a lot of new scripted tests, factory tests in there. And then Asian, you can see the growth over here too, 23, 24. And 46%. So there, every time you update, you're getting a large batch of new information, new tests, new vehicles that you can work on in the bay. And if you're back 2, 3, 4 years, you can see how much you'd be missing if you weren't up to date right now. Also, in the 2022 calendar year, we have updated to provide 2022 model year code scan and clear. So this we actually started this back in the spring, but we continue through the fall release as well. So who needs this 2022 brand spanking new car code scan and clear? Well, body shops for sure. They get a brand new car that gets in a wreck with 5 miles on it. They would need to do a pre-scan and a post-scan at the very minimum on a car. Rental car facilities, usually those are current model year vehicles, less than 30,000 miles. So they might need it. Or if you're in a shop that sublets for rental cars, body shops, or sublets for a glass company, we need to scan, pre-scan and post-scan those cars, or glass companies themselves. A lot of them are finding themselves with scanners now. And then think about dealerships. The car dealership, they may have a brand new car that maybe the techs just happen to like using our tool better. It does happen quite a bit out there. Or maybe they get a vehicle trade-in comes in. They didn't like the one that they had, so they traded it in for something else. You know, maybe they had a brand new Ford and they traded it in for a Corvette or something. I don't know, but dealerships could definitely get use out of that, having that code scan and clear. But that brings us to also updating all the other modules. Instead of just code scan and clear, we also now have 12 additional manufacturers with this update that have full codes, data, and functional tests. So not just the code scanning and clearing, we can get in all the modules we'll be able to do on a 2020, a 2021, and so on. All the functional tests, all the data, all the codes. So these 12 makes, so you see Genesis, GM, Hyundai, Infiniti, Land Rover, Lexus, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Subaru, Toyota, and Volvo. So there's a ton of new information in there on the 2022 model. Now let's get into some highlights. We're just going to, for the bulk of this, we go through the high level stuff, and then we'll drill down a little bit deeper when we go on live on the tool. So a lot of this is the high level highlights. And this is, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is for North America. I know there's people who watch from UK, Australia, and your softwares are a little bit different because your vehicles are a little bit different over there. This is focusing on North America, but if you do share any North American cars over on either side of either of those oceans, this would apply as well. And of course, you get plenty of other items in your updates. But GM's gets that 2022 model year update. So Chevy, Cadillac, GMC, Buick, all those brands that are under the GM umbrella get those modules added. So they get engine, transmission, body, ADAS coverage, all of that gets up. Ford, the big rock here is the 2021 Mustang Mach-E. So that was added actually in the previous update with a little bit of coverage, but now they backfill with 30 new modules. So there's 41 total modules available on this car. And I know we talked about PMI back in the spring too, and that's Ford's programmable module installation function. We added that back in the spring on F-Series trucks, and now we also have it on the Mach-E, on the powertrain control module, ABS module, cruise control module, and the image processing module A. So that covers a lot of the cameras on the vehicle, the image processing module. Cadillac, once again, that falls under the GM umbrella, so we get a 2022 model year update there. Lincoln, the new model Continental that's out there. Vehicle dynamics control module was added, so that I can do some more suspension work on those vehicles. Jeep and Ram, so they'll share a 3-liter diesel engine, and we added SCR support. So that's a selective catalyst reduction system. So that's a thing like the DEF injectors and the pumps and the heaters and so on with that. A lot of new support for that. We're actually talking a little bit more in depth about that when we go live on the tool. So the 3-liter diesel in both the 14 and newer Jeep Cherokee and the 15 and newer Ram 1500. As far as Ram's concerned, that's about 20% of the models or 20% of the vehicles that they produced with that 3-liter engine. So there's a lot of them out there. So if you want to work on those SCR systems, readily available now. Grand Cherokee L on the Jeep also added some special functions. So that is a newer-ish model. So we added some more tests to that. And 2019 and newer Ram pickups, ADAS, forward radar calibration. So on the driver assist system module, added forward radar calibration. So that'd be for the cross traffic in the front, the radar cruise control, etc. So now we are able to calibrate the radar on that. So see, always focusing on the ADAS functions for sure. BMW is a pretty large update on electronic chassis systems. It's 3 or 4 different modules, 4 different names that they had for these modules too. But it's like their electronic chassis, the air suspension, dynamics control, whatever they want to call it. They call it a bunch of different things. But you can see the years covered. So it goes all the way back to 17 on the X5, 08 on the X6, 14 and newer on the 4 Series, 13 and newer on the 3 Series. And then air suspension on the X5 and the 5 Series. You can see we have 8 new tests there and 9 new tests there. So a wealth of new suspension enhancements on BMW. And then Volkswagen and Audi, coverage for 7 new engine variants. So we know Volkswagen and Audi, if you've worked on them before, it could be a 2-liter engine, but there's 15 different variants, right? So in this case, 7 new engine variants added that we didn't have before. So now you can work on those engines. And then as far as Asian, so Toyota, once again, an ADAS system, front side radar system coverage. So they have a center radar and side radars. I'd imagine that's probably more for cross traffic alert, collision avoidance, that sort of thing. But now we can recalibrate those systems. Genesis. So Genesis is the newest brand in the tool. We had it for a couple of years, but they're also one of the newer brands on the market, as long as you don't count EVs. But one of the newer brands on the market actually spun off from Hyundai. So Hyundai's high-end car for a while was the Genesis. And they said, well, let's spin it off and make our own luxury brand to compete against BMW and Mercedes. So that's what they did. Came up with this Genesis. And the GV80 added some special functions 2021 to 2022. And then in 2022, we also added the new model, the GV70. So that didn't exist before. So now we have coverage for that on the major system. As far as Subaru, near and dear to my heart, 2020 and newer Outback keyless access system. So that's the key fobs on those. And also the reverse automatic braking system, codes data and functional tests on the applicable models or whatever models that applies to. So reverse automatic braking's another ADAS function. Have you ever seen the commercial where someone's backing down the driveway? They didn't see that there's a truck driving by at a high rate of speed back there, and it automatically stops the vehicle for that. So that is an important system, and now you can fix them. Also added as far as ease of use type items, features for the scan tool themselves. We have this diagnostic health scan that's added. So we've been doing pre-scans and post-scans for quite some time on there. But now we also have the option of this diagnostics health scan. So what this does is it presents a more customer-friendly report. So before is a fair amount of detail. It didn't look maybe as professional as we wanted it to. So we added in some extra things here, a little picture of the vehicle and some nice fonts and so on. So it's more customer-friendly. But it does also include on further pages the full pre and post scan reports that we've had for a while now too. So it just makes it a little bit easier to talk to the customer about, okay, yeah, we found a problem in the engine system and we need to discuss that. However, everything else had no issues found, that sort of. And it does also upload to the Snap-on cloud as well. So it syncs with Snap-on. So there's what it would look like on the tool. So see, we got a pre-scan, we got post-scan, and now we have a new button down here for diagnostic health scan. So you can do that as well. Some shops, I think, will use that for their quick little once-over vehicle inspection that they might do. Pull in for a 1995 vehicle inspection, and then they can just do a diagnostic health scan and give them the report that way if you do that. Also, updating previous vehicles. So we've been able to do this on a few of the tools. Now we have this ability on really all the tools that can get this update. It's a functionality update. So in the previous vehicles and data screens on any of our various tools, on some of them you couldn't go in, you couldn't change the VIN or the odometer, or edit any fields or edit the license plate, any of that stuff. So now you have the capability, go into the vehicle and you can edit any of the fields in there if you need to do so. All right, so that is a nice functionality update for that, and that's so now available on all of the diagnostic tools. We also have a improvement to custom data lists. So we have excellent data management inside the tools as far as what I want to see on the screen, what I can do. So there is a nice update here with advanced custom data. I'm going to get a lot deeper into it when we go live on the tool, but I can actually build a master custom data list from multiple lists, and we added to 11 new makes out there. So vehicles you couldn't do it on before, you can do it now, and I'll walk you through how we would approach that and what the differences are when we go live on the tool here in a couple minutes. Now it's time to talk about security links, so vehicle security systems like firewalls. So we launched this back in the spring, or at least it's really mainly a name change more than anything, but Snap-on Security Link, which gives platform owners, that would be those of you that own a Snap-on tool, a uniform method to access secured vehicle systems from your diagnostic tool. So it was introduced in the spring, as we said. And we have to think about our diagnostic tool, software, and our services. So an up-to-date platform has the latest software communications content and access to web-based services on it. So as long as you have a current tool, it'll be there. Access to these services are available for 6 months from the time of the update, plus a 1-month grace period. After that period, you must install the latest software update or you'll lose access to web-based services. Depending on the platform, these services will include Fast Track Intelligent Diagnostics, Technical Service Bulletins, Service Resets and Relearns, Sure Track Information, Snap-on Cloud Service, Oil Specs and Resets, Tire and Wheel Service, and Snap-on Security Link services. Now, when it comes to Snap-on Cloud, you see it's got the asterisk there. That's because you can still access your previously uploaded documents. You just can't upload new ones until the software goes up to date. So where this comes in is Security Link. So that it's been that way for a while where you lose the access to the web-based services, but Security Link is a new function. So vehicle manufacturers, as you may know, have been implementing security features in order to prevent unauthorized intrusions into their systems. If you think about FCA vehicles with their secure gateway, right? So they lock out any exterior unless you have authorization to get in. Security Link was introduced at the spring 2022 software release. The latest software release will be required on the tool in order to be compliant with the manufacturer's ever-changing security processes. So the manufacturer said, all right, if you want to be able to access these secured systems, We need to make sure that you have the latest and greatest on your scan tool, because we can change the protocol midstream here. And if you don't have the latest protocol on the tool, you won't be able to communicate with the vehicle. So we have to make sure that you have the latest software release. Otherwise, you won't be able to communicate with the vehicle. Security link, as an umbrella term, will be a gateway to access secured systems as allowed by manufacturers. So whatever manufacturer comes out with a new way to secure their vehicles, will have a nice portal there for you, all in the same place that you can go in and help to access those vehicles. Manufacturers may also require a subscription to their system to allow the authentication to complete, like AutoAuth, for example, where you have to pay $50 a year. Manufacturers that do not require this type of subscription will be done in the background, and you don't have to worry a thing about it. It just gets done in the background. You might not even see the screen flash up that says it's communicating. So in that case, we will handle all the required development to allow access to those secured systems. So as of right now, that would be Ford. So Ford 18 and newer, they have security on their vehicles. And like I say, 18 and newer, you can't even do a functional test. You want to turn on an AC clutch, can't do it unless you have access to secure systems. So that is why it's imperative to have Wi-Fi on your tool, for one thing, and to make sure the tool is up to date on the current software. So as a little refresher here, so with on tools with a fast track intelligent diagnostics like a Zeus, a Trainer, or Apollo, as long as you have an active subscription or a data plan that is active, you will be able to access all this stuff. If you don't have a subscription and you just buy a single update, which you should not do on one of these tools, you buy a single update or your data plan expires, you get no access to any of that. Even if you update to the current software with buying just one single software update, you lose access to that because you need to have a subscription or a data plan. So for this example, if I buy just a single title, I still get access to TSBs and SureTrack and Snap-on Cloud and Security Link, but I don't get access to Intelligent Diagnostics or the service resets and relearns. So just so you're aware. And it's also the best deal to put it on a subscription. Anyways, it costs less over a year than actually buying one. And then for other web-enabled products like Verisettes and Solus, as long as you have an active bundle in that 6 months plus 1 month grace period, you can access all of it. Once it goes out of date, you lose all of it. So that's really anything that's on the web, anything that's accessed through Wi-Fi. So think about it this way. If I turn the Wi-Fi off on the tool, what will I not be able to access with the Wi-Fi off? If it's on that list, whoa, that's what's going to happen. If it's on that list of things and things I can't do, then that's what's going to happen. So a little summary. So if your scan tool is on subscription or a data plan and your access expires, all you need to do is just install the latest update. You would be surprised at how many people pay for a subscription, pay for a data plan, and don't update their tool. They already paid for it. It's already in there. It's already available to them. They just don't update their tool. So if you have one of those plans, get your tool up to date. It's very simple. You can do it yourself. If you really need to, we have plenty of people that can help you out as well. So if you have a subscription or a data plan, just update the tool. Very simple. Or if you purchased a single title and your access expires, then you have to purchase the latest update, whatever that happens to be, or put your platform on a software subscription. Once again, least expensive option out of the three. Some manufacturers may also require a subscription to their system to allow the authentication to complete, such as AutoAuth on those FCA vehicles. Security Link is not for access to security systems requiring an LSID, such as programming keys, things of that nature. You hear the word security, you think, oh, I'm going to be able to, that's for keys. It's not for that. It's for these firewalls on this card. And remember, subscribing your tool is always the best option because it's the least expensive. It costs $0 on the day of when you first sign up for it. And it's just a monthly payment. Makes life a lot easier for everyone. All right, so that's Security Link. Now let's talk about, well, this is the vehicle software portion. So let's now switch over to guided component tests because those get updated every time we do a software update as well. It used to be we would hold them all until the fall and do a big update in the fall. But now the last few years, we've been adding, every time we do an update, we add more additional guided component tests in there. So I think that's the best way to go anyway. So you're always current in whatever the latest tests are. So 8% growth in engine tests, 9% in transmission, 7% in ADAS. Remember, we do also have guided component testing for ADAS things like cameras and radars and lasers and ultrasonic sensors and things. Also have ABS, 15% growth in there. So a lot more functionality added as far as that's concerned. Here's a couple examples. We got a 2020 Audi A4 object detection sensor test. So that's going to be one of the ultrasonic sensors that are going to be in the bumpers. As you can see, it's a 3-wire connector. It's going to tell you where to hook up, what you're supposed to see for a voltage, what the connector is going to be. Another example on a 2020 VW Atlas, the park assist sensor is going to be fairly similar. In this case, it's a resistance test though. So we're looking at less than 2 ohms is what we want to see. And then we can talk about the wire colors there. And then on the 2019 Ford Police Responder hybrid vehicle. So the Ford Police Responder has a hybrid engine in it. And this is actually all new coverage for that engine inside the guided component test there. So if you're in a shop that works on these, maybe a town garage, highway department, thing of that nature, you now have a lot of guided component tests available on these police responder vehicles. So that's pretty cool. Also, don't forget on-the-job help already built into the tool. This has been in there for a couple years, and it does get updated time to time. 65 categories of classes. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of classes in here, and they're free. Just go in. It's on the tool already. Well, as long as you have a guided component test in your tool, so that you need a tool with a scope, that would be all in there. It's things like Ohm's law in the basic electronics class, all the way to CAN bus testing, data bus testing, things of that nature, pressure transducer testing, all sorts of things in here. You can see as it scrolls by on the screen there. So on the job training, always there, always ready for you, just a couple clicks away, and you're learning. Here's an example from ADAS class on radar cruise control. So we can see vehicle fitted with adaptive cruise control, uses radar to monitor the vehicle's position in traffic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can go through and take the class and learn about it. All right, so that is the slide portion. And definitely stay tuned through this because I got a pretty cool contest announcement for you here in a few minutes once we get done with this. All right, so first things first, I am on a outdated scan tool here. So it's only been out a week, so you get that 1 month grace period, as we said, right? So 22.2, so that's the spring release. If I go into vehicle history, I'm going to pull up my first vehicle, which is going to be this Hyundai Palisade, 2020 Hyundai Palisade. I'm going to go into scanner, and we're going to talk about this custom data enhancement that I discussed earlier. Okay, so let's say I want to go in and I want to check data on the engine. I got maybe a drivability problem. Maybe I don't have a code yet. Could just be a sort of rough running type of situation, maybe not severe enough to set a code. So we're going to go into engine. We're going to check the data. Now, why am I saying, well, no code, no code? Because we could just go into Fast Track Intelligent Diagnostics if we had that option. So I'm going to go to common data here, though, and this will be the main data list for the vehicle. And we can see there's a lot of data in here. It's dozens, if not hundreds of PIDs. I'm not going to count them all, but as you can see, it's a ton. So what I would do is I want to pare this down a little bit. So I can go to my custom data list, and it is going to come through and it's going to list all the PIDs. I can deselect them. Then I can just pick a few if I wish. Then I can go back to my list and I can see what I have. That's all well and good. But with the new update, what happens? So if I come over here, pull up the same vehicle, 2020 Hyundai Palisade, go into scanner, go into engine, and go into data, and then that common data again, we will see looks the same. Got a lot of data, a lot of scrolling, don't want to count it, all that good stuff. So if I were to go to make a custom list on this vehicle now, though, come up here, and now we see it looks a lot different. It's a lot different. Now I could come up here and hit this caret, and it's going to give me all the data, and I can just hit deselect all, and then I could pick the ones I wanted, or I could even change lists in here. So maybe I think it might be misfire related. So I'll go to my misfire data. That pulls if I hit the checkbox, that pulls the whole list. And I can go back to my list view and I can see my misfire data now. Now we can take this one step further. I have all my misfire counters here, but I don't have other things like maybe fuel related things, fuel trims, oxygen sensor. So let's go into ignition and fuel data and see if we can pull a few of those out of there. So let's see things like fuel adaptations. How about, let's see what else we got. Fuel pressure set point, fuel pressure regulator. All right, a couple of these things. And let's say that there's another fuel adaptations on my bank too. All right, so let's go back to my list view. And now we have a master list, has all my misfire counters down here, and it has all that fuel stuff that I just picked from the other list. So it's like a master custom data list. So as I said, this was added on 11 new makes that we didn't have it on before. It's I think it's around 26 makes we cover it on now. And that's most of the manufacturers that have fairly current vehicles. So the only ones that don't have this function at the moment is going to be really any vehicles that don't have groups. So there's some manufacturers that just put everything all on one screen and you don't have a choice of groups. And then GM, because of the way they present the groups to the tool, we don't have that functionality on GM at this time. So hopefully they're working on it. But as of right now, it's pretty much just that we don't have it on it. Ford, Hyundai, Chrysler vehicles, all those different types of vehicles. So that's pretty cool because the data already, we get big thumbs up for how we handle our data. And this just makes it way easier to go through and manipulate your data and go through and see just the data that you want and get rid of the noise there. So there's data. Now let's pull my next. So next one on the list is going to be the SCR system. So in 2019 Ram and Jeep, this 3-liter. I'm going to activate it from here instead of double clicking. There we go, scanner. Okay, 3-liter diesel, there it is. Got to wait for security link authorization because this is a newer than 18 Chrysler. FCA, whatever. Stellantis, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now we can go into our engine. And if we go into miscellaneous functions, we see we can get ECU information. That's all we go to system tests. There's a few different tests in there, variant codings, DPF resets and such, injector quantity adjustment, but nothing on the SCR system. So if we pop over to the other tool here, and we go into, whoops, let me pull that back here, recent vehicles. I don't know how to run things today. What's going on? Okay, there we go. Security link. Okay, so we go on engine, pick the same computer. Oops, pick the wrong computer. This one. There we go. There's my SCR stuff. So we can come in here. There's still like a few DPF things, oxygen sensor things. There's the variant coding again. So I can move over to miscellaneous functions. We see SCR long-term adaptations, SCR system after ECU replacement, pressure line replacement, catalyst reset, tanker pump replacement, regen on the diesel particulate filter. That's really not the SCR, but wiring harness replacement, etc. So all of these new tests that are for the SCR got added in this latest update, and they weren't available. Just to show you, because I did make one small error. I picked the wrong computer. So I'm going to go into the same computer there. There we go. Miscellaneous functions, still only ECU information. Just so you don't think that I tricked you. So it's the same computer, different software update, and there you go. Have that. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is going to be our Mustang. So this is on the older software once again. We go in here, load the Mach-E, and we see 4 different systems. And then we have oil specs and resets as well. So 4 different systems on this, nothing else. Got full vehicle code scan. Now let's switch over to the new software. Let's change our vehicle. Mustang Mach-E. Load it up. And then there's all my modules. Now, see Tons more modules. 41 different modules covered in here, plus oil specs, which you don't really need for that because it doesn't have engine oil. But I suppose there might be a few things in there. If it needs some sort of a maintenance reset, it would be in there as well. You see a battery energy control module, for example. First one. There is a lot of data on these battery modules. If you're working on EVs or hybrid vehicles, there's a lot of data you can look into, and there's a lot of data you need to look into. So you can see the different battery packs, state of charge, all sorts of different things, battery temperatures, pack voltages. You can actually go in here, and if I back up a little bit, just gonna take a second here. I'm going to functional tests, special functions. There's a battery health as well. So that'll do a test on the battery health. Includes individual cell group voltages and capacities, temperature readings, etc. And then you can do a full cell list or each of the modules. So there's 10 different modules. I'll just do the full cell list and you're going to see what it's going to look like. So all the different cells. How many different cells on this here? There's 96, right? A little more. Yeah, so in this case, 96 different battery cells. Remember on electric vehicle? On electric vehicle, we get many little like 3-volt cells tied together in series, gets us many 300 volts. Right. So that's how they work. So individual cells can fail, and that can take down the car for a little while until they have to rebuild it or fix it or repair it. There are shops now that are taking them out and rebuilding them as well. So all in all, good improvements there between the two software updates, and I'm sure you'll find a lot more things in there. Those are just the high points, the highlights that we wanted to talk about. So now, this is, I think, one of the best giveaways we've ever done. At least I know in Diagnostics, this is the best giveaway we've ever. I think so. As long as you're in North America, so that'd be the US and Canada, any of the 10 regions in North America, which would be US and Canada, as long as you have a Snap-on scan tool that can receive the latest update. That's a lot of tools. As long as you have a Snap-on scan tool that can receive the latest update, and you are on the latest update, 22.4, it'll say in the bottom corner of your screen there. As long as you are running 22.4, it's installed on your tool by the end of the year, by the end of the day on December 31st, you will be entered to win one of 10 of these epic workstations. Now, it's not just a workstation, it's a diagnostic workstation. Inside, it has a Zeus, it has a docking station, it has a 27-inch touchscreen monitor. So you can have that with the 36-inch epic toolbox, with the hutch on top, and it is personalized with your name, whoever wins. So as I said, we're giving away 10 of these. They're each worth $24,000 retail on those. So that is a crazy giveaway. I'm pretty excited about it. I wish I could win it. I'll be very excited for you if you win this. So, and it's like I said, it's like the easiest contest to enter. You don't have to do anything except put software on your tool. If you already have a software subscription, just go ahead and download it, install it. You're already ready, good to go. If you have a prepaid data plan, just install the latest software. As long as it's not expired, you can install the latest software. Just make sure you're up to date by the end of the year. And if you're out of date, then talk to your franchisee and see about getting updated. But I'll tell you what, as long as you're running it by the end of the year, you get entered to win. And if you win that, man, that comes to the whole new scan tool too, which is pretty cool, pretty crazy. So definitely worth the effort, I think, to potentially win a $24,000 plus retail box. Like I said, North America only. So if you're watching from the UK or overseas, sorry, I'm not sure if they're doing a contest over there too, but this is where we're at for the United States and Canada. So definitely cool prize. Also want to remind you that we do offer free diagnostics training. If you're just kind of coming to us from somewhere else and you've never seen any of our training before, we do offer free diagnostics training 4 nights a week. So Al McCaskey does platform-specific training Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We also have training on the tool itself inside the little training button there. We have self-paced training on our website. If you go to diagnostics.snapon.com, there's 10 to 13 different modules on every single one of our tools. It walks through the buttonology of it, The YouTube channel also has all the training that I do, plus a bunch of other content in there. And I train every Tuesday night on a different topic. So the different topics we've covered so far, anything from ADOS, data bus testing, code-based diagnostic workflow, VVT, just did diesel injector last night. So lots of information there for the taking. It is all free. So if you want to go to youtube.com/Snap-on Diagnostics, make sure you subscribe and make sure that you are subscribed and hit that little bell to make sure that you get notification in there. So check that out. Now we'll get to questions. Looks like I do have a couple there. Harvey, I see your question coming in on YouTube. And before I answer it, if you could find a year, make, model that would apply to, I will look it up on the screen and see where we're looking. If it doesn't have it, then we can talk to people. Okay, so I have a question on Zoom. It says I received 22.4 update notification on my Zeus. I clicked install, but it didn't install. ShopStream program disappeared. Now ShopStream says there's no update available if I check for updates. How do I get the update again? So what I would suggest is, first thing, totally shut down and restart the Zeus. So do the Windows, turn it off, let it sit for a minute, turn it back on with the power button, let it boot all the way up, and then see where it's at. Because that'll get the automatic updater to reload as well. If that doesn't happen and you can't get it to update, because sometimes it just kind of does it and you don't really notice. It does it in the background sometimes. But if that doesn't work, then definitely call into tech support 1-800-424-7226. And they will be able to, they'll probably just remote into the tool and see what's wrong with it and then update it that way. They can usually just push an update over the internet as long as you're current on your sub plan or whatever. So hopefully that'll help you out. Henry asks, heard there's a new scanner coming soon. Any info? There's always new scanners coming. I can't tell you yet, but there are new scanners coming. There's always a new scanner coming. We put out a new scan tool every year for the last 11 years. So yes, there is a new scan tool coming, and that's all I can tell you. Sorry, I can't give you any more information. I want to keep my job. So, all right. So let's see. Hold on. Have a Modus Ultra 18.4 looking to update with the latest update. Just use it for basic needs. So yeah, you could update it with the latest update. That's the last update the Modus Ultra is getting, though. Just so you know, Modus Ultra last update is this update now. So if you do update it, then it's going to be, wherever it is for the rest of its life. But that also gives you a chance to enter to win the big workstation. So I don't know, just kind of weigh your options there. Talk to your Snap-on representative and try that. Keep them coming on Zoom if you got any more. Let's see, go over to YouTube here. DJ says hi, hope all is well. Welcome. Thanks for joining me twice in 1 week. I'm guessing you probably watched on Tuesday as well. You usually do. The Winton, hello again. Nice to see you. Peter Arjun says great information. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're getting something out of that. The Winton also really likes that workstation there. So Harvey asks, are there any plans to add ALC trim set calibration on GMC trucks with ESC suspensions? Let me do the thing that I don't always do, but I like doing it sometimes. And we will go into the tool with the latest update. And he says it's on a 2010 Chevy Suburban. So let me look. 2010. And if it's not in here, I'll just ask people why we can't put it in there, because I'm sure they'll be able to at some point. So let's see, 4-wheel drive, and let's say it's got a 5.3 probably, right? And that should be under suspension, electronic suspension control. Let's try MagneRide first. Functional test, compressor test, exhaust valve, damper actuators. I don't see anything of a trim set calibration. Let's go back to without MagneRide and see if it's in that. All right. Duly noted. So it is not in the new update either. So duly noted. I will run that up the flagpole because I know a guy. and we'll see about getting that put in a future release. It's something we need. That's something we need. So ALC trim set calibration. I will write that. All right, got a couple more on from Henry. Maybe. I'm not even going to read it out loud, but maybe, Henry, maybe. I don't know. I agree. Derek says, I have a Verisette. Should I consider upgrading to the Zeus? Well, it's up to you, really. If you think you're going to get the benefits of the newer software and all the things that the fast track intelligent diagnostics gives you and things of that nature, then yeah, maybe wait till next week though. If you're thinking about it. All right, Harvey, you're welcome. I'll run it up the flagpole. All right. Looks like we've nailed all the questions there. Hopefully we learned a little bit more about what's going on with the latest software update and how we need to make sure we keep it up to date. Otherwise, there's going to be certain vehicles we just aren't going to be able to work on anymore. And that's just the way the industry is. The OEMs are saying this is what needs to be done. So just make sure your tool's up to date, and then you can see all the cool new stuff that you get to do when you do get a new update. So, and this time, you also get entered in for a chance to win a $24,000 workstation. So I don't think that's a terrible trade-off. So with that, thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a nice weekend. Oh, I got one more question. Derek says, what's the difference between the Zeus and the Verisettes? So the Zeus and the Verisettes, the Zeus is going to have the fast track intelligent diagnostics workflow on it. So that is based on billions of real world repairs based on a code. So if I have a code and I hit diagnose, it's going to give me all of this information on there, all on one screen, TSBs, real world repair information, smart data, which sets min max flags for me and filters down my list for a custom data list, filtered functional tests. So I don't have to go through dozens of functional tests to find the one I need. Filtered guided component tests, same thing. So I don't have to go through the list of what I need. Real fix information also integrates directly with ShopKey as well, just like the Veris, but it integrates directly on the intelligent diagnostics page as well. So it really helps tame that data overload that we see out there. So that's your main difference right there. And then plus the newer models run Windows 10, not Windows 7. So you're going to have that difference as well. Oops. Okay, hope that answered your question. All right. Looks like we're all good. Thank you, the Winton. Thanks for joining me. Thank everyone else for joining me as well. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good night. Got another question? Thank you. All right, Derek. Thank you. All right. Have a good night and take care.